everyone, this is John Daly. I am back with another episode of the Daily Express. I'm very excited about today's guest. I've been saying for some time now that what this podcast is lacking is real star power. So I went out there and I found a man who is a bona fide internet sensation. He's also an attorney and a movie producer, which I'll be asking him about later. But I am talking about Damin Toell. How's it going today, Damin?
It's going great, John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Did I say your last name correctly?
No, no, it's fine. And so you got the first name right. It's Damon. The last name is Toll. But
Toll.
yeah, so my parents cursed me with a first and last name I have to spell and pronounce every day, but I'm used to it. It's fine. I appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm going to blame that on the Right Thoughts podcast because I you were a guest on there. I went back and they said that, so I assumed it was correct. But
I I think they did it on purpose, but yeah.
oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I'll blame them anyway. You know,
Great.
I'll blame Kimberly Ross, even though she wasn't even
Please.
on that episode. I'm going to
She
blame
should be
her for
blamed
that.
for everything.
I, exactly right. See, this
Yeah.
is why you're on, Damon, just to tell it like it is. So, but thanks for joining me.
Thanks
So
for
I was
having me.
going to say, as an individual, you fascinate me. We've both been on Twitter or X for quite some time, but for whatever reason, you weren't really on my radar really until just about last year. I look back and I think that's the first time we ever exchanged any kind of interaction whatsoever. But so I'm not deeply familiar with your politics, but I think it's safe to say that we have a sort of common passion for pointing out political hypocrisy and calling out grifters and mocking silly conspiracy theories. Uh, for me, it's credibility is kind of a big deal, and watching prominent people sort of abandon their principles, make up things, and flip flop back and forth on positions depending on really which team it helps and who it hurts. It's all sort of a constant frustration. That may be the case for you, and Damon, when you do it, you are brilliant at it. You're
No stuff.
funny. Kind of this laid back way in how you draw attention to to things like what I just described. Often, I see you researching kind of what people said in the past and using their own words against them, and it kind of seems to upset them when you bring it to their attention. Am I describing you accurately? Is that what kind of motivates you online, or am I getting this completely wrong?
So first of all, let me say I'm extremely happy to talk about all this, and I'm honored and humbled that anyone would be interested in listening, that you would want to ask. But the idea that the stuff I do on Twitter is anything other than me goofing around and should be taken seriously, or is you saying brilliant or anything like that, I appreciate it. But the idea of talking about it seriously that way, I reject with great respect. But I'm happy to talk about it. So, I've been for a very long time been a pretty liberal guy, and I've never hid that. Um, you know, I kind of my thing. So let me back up a second. I've had a Twitter account for ages, but I don't know, 2012 or something like that. But I didn't really use it that much. And then, just like a lot of people, pandemic happened at home. So I'm an attorney. My stuff all went virtual. Well, there were a few months where the courts weren't operating at all. Then it went virtual, so a lot of time spent at home. So we fill that time with stuff like social media, right? So I started getting more active on Twitter. My behavior, whatever you call it, one of the things I do is that well, A, I enjoy politics, but B, I'm reactive to whatever's happening. Right, whatever the things people are talking. I'm certainly not a tastemaker trying to introduce new concepts and ideas to people. I kind of react to what's going on. And so a lot of that's dependent on the nature of the discourse or the nature of the site at any given moment. So when I came on to become more active on Twitter 2020, and then the few years after that, Twitter at that time was kind of dominated, certainly not exclusively, but dominated by liberal voices, liberal accounts. Um, and even if I agreed with them in essence, a lot of times, I certainly didn't agree necessarily with tactics or, you know, behavior that I don't like saying, about not being truthful, engagement bait, hypocrisy, things like that. And so I, even as a pretty liberal sort of guy, I don't have I don't have a political allegiance to anyone, right? And so I don't. It doesn't bother me to call out, make fun of, whatever, someone who's a liberal. I'm not afraid of hurting my own political party or something. I certainly don't think I have the power to do that anyway. Even though people will tell me sometimes, "You really want to do this? You're killing your party or something," and I'm like, if I can kill my party, we're all in trouble. But so so that's how it was for a long time. And then Elon Musk buys Twitter. A lot of things start changing then, uh, up until today now, where the overall discourse is, I think, is very different. The kinds of posts that you see are different. Even if there's still, there's engagement bait, there's people posting fake news, things like that. The in terms of the maybe the techniques are the same, but the people doing it, the content is different. My feed now, once upon a time, my feed was all JoJo from Jers and Brooklyn Dad and accounts like that, and I actually follow both of those accounts have blocked me and then unblocked me eventually. But I follow JoJo from Jers. I never see her in my feed, just never. And my feed, I like to use the For You tab, which is
Oh,
like people hate, right? Everyone hates it. But for me, that's where the action is, because I want to know what people are talking about. I follow a bunch of accounts, but I can't trust them to tell me what's going on. I need to see the stuff that people are going crazy with. And so now the stuff that shows up in my For You tab, are right wing versions or worse things that 99% of right wingers would reject as being absurd extremists. And with that kind of content now, very often gets a lot of engagement, gets a lot of likes, and a lot of discussion. And so it's different. So either way, in both situations, I kind of, one of the major things I do is just kind of react to that and express my displeasure as best I can as a citizen in the town hall saying, this stinks and it shouldn't, you shouldn't be saying, or not you shouldn't be saying it, but if you're going to say it, then I'm going to be here to, make fun of you.
I think one of the funniest, and I don't think this was you, but one of the funniest things, you're right about the For You tab. It's pretty interesting. And someone made the joke the other day when the White House sort of, fake released the Epstein files, how basically all these right-wing influencers that were there getting their little packets, their little manila folders, were pretty much everybody that shows up in the For You tab, except for, Elon Musk is in there too. But I thought that was a pretty interesting observation.
And that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. You reminded me of it, because that happening, the right wing MAGA influencers being at the White House, getting the binders. They had been at the White House for a meeting. Later on, photos came out of them having meetings in the White House. It's an exact mirror image of what had happened a few years prior in the Biden administration, when he had like Twitter Influencer Day, and Brooklyn Dad, JoJo from Jers, Jeff Tiedrick, the people from Midas Touch, accounts like that. They all had a giant meeting at the White House, and there's a photo. I tweeted it back at the time, and it's like one of my tweets that keep getting shared. Every once in a while, people will find it and repost it. There's a big group shot of all of them outside the White House, and the reaction at that time, I can't remember if it was 22, 23, somewhere around there. The reaction of the time, from me and also from many on the right. And so that's where I kind of, I think a lot of people see me saying the same things as people on the right. And so they think I agree with them more than I do, but I certainly agree with them on some stuff. But a lot of people, me included, said, A, that's embarrassing, and B, look at the access that these influencers have. Um, and then the same thing was repeated with, just in the other direction, with the Epstein binders. And they had DC Drano and Lips of TikTok and people like that. I think Cernovich was there, whoever else. Uh, and yeah, but that's a whole other story. But you had the same thing with a whole big group of influencers just on the other side of the political spectrum at the White House taking photos and videos. And I certainly made the comparison. A lot of other people on the right did too. But it's also kind of goes to my point, like saying before, even if the content changes, even if the political direction changes, the techniques stay the same. Influencers still get access to the White House, whether it's, the Biden administration or the Trump administration. It's still, Twitter is still the place where uh, people like that, accounts like that, can build up influence and get access.
Yeah, we live in kind of unserious times in our politics. So I'm curious, what political stories and issues are of the most interest to you right now? I do see you commenting a lot on the JFK files. This was sort of like the Epstein stuff, sort of hyped quite a bit. Um, I'm not sure there's really much being learned, but what is that one that interests you? Are there other ones? And what's your take on the JFK files?
Yeah, so I mean that's certainly one that interests me. Again, that's an example of me being kind of reactive to the discourse, right? I mean, that's where, at least in my For You tab, a lot of the discourse is JFK file stuff, and you've got big accounts posting, "Hey, look at this thing we just got from the JFK files," and it's similar to the Epstein file release. So when those guys all went to the White House and got their binders, all of that stuff for the Epstein files had been public before. The flight logs had been public before. The little black book was posted online back in 2000. The White House literally took that PDF and made it part of the Epstein files. It was all the same as before. The JFK files are a little different. First of all, I think it's something like 80,000 pages. It's not text searchable yet. I'm sure there's going to be people are going to find more, and I certainly won't claim to have even seen half of 1% of what's in there yet. But from what I have seen, a lot of it is stuff we had before, but a little different in that things that were redacted previously are now unredacted. And one of the things we're seeing commentary on is that references to countries, foreign nations, presumably due to the CIA be concerned about the nature of their relationships with foreign intelligence services. A lot of the prior JFK documents that were released, going back to the 90s, we had documents were released back in 93, and then there was a JFK Files Act later on, and so we had documents released starting in 2017. Trump, Trump 1 released a lot of JFK stuff. Biden released a lot of JFK stuff. There's a lot of stuff over the years, but a lot of it was redacted. One of the things that people are talking about now is that, hey, now that it's unredacted, we could see that it used to say Israel. They kept Israel from us, but it's which, I mean, A, is true, but B, they did the same thing. I found examples for Mexico, Portugal, the United Kingdom. They were redacting references to Lisbon, to London, which they were just redacting other countries from the documents. But of course, people who want to have, promote a theory that this is the country is the problem, they say that. So now the files that we're getting have things that were redacted before. Now they're public. The only interesting one I've seen, and again, I've only looked at a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what's come out. I'm sure we're going to find out new things. One of them was there's a memo that we had previously from 1967 where the CIA talked about a magazine article in Ramparts magazine, which was a far left magazine that was published for decades. They published an article claiming that there was this guy who said, "Oh, JFK was killed by a big CIA plot, and then he died 6 months later, and it was ruled a suicide. Wow, what a coincidence, And so the CIA just did a memo quoting that article, which a lot of big accounts yesterday were posting that first page of the memo saying, "Look at the CIA saying this," but it was really just a quote from a magazine article from a communist publication from the 60s. But the more interesting stuff actually comes later, because there's stuff that was redacted that now we know, because Trump re-released it now unredacted. One of those things that talks about the people mentioned in this magazine article, and there was a guy who was known for owning a gun manufacturer and distributor. It was called Interarmco, or Interarms. There's a few names for it. And pieces of the discussion of Interarmco used to be redacted. Now we know the CIA thanks, Trump. The CIA admitted in their memo to themselves that they were the owners of Interarmco, who sold weapons around the world. They were originally the exclusive distributor for Armalite, and so the AR-10 was the weapon at the time. And we know it's the CIA. They sold a whole bunch of AR-10s to Batista when he was fighting Castro's forces. Castro stole the AR-10s. They intercepted it. They loved it so much that they paid for them, and effectively Castro paid the CIA for the guns that he stole. And so it puts people suspected for a million years that Interarmco was a CIA operation, but now we have an actual CIA memo that says it in black and white. We owned it. We made profits off of these firearms that we were selling. It's great. So I don't know. I have a feeling there may be more like that, where we're not necessarily going to find out things about JFK, about the assassination. But because things are now being unredacted, my gut tells me the things that were redacted before largely were unrelated to JFK. They weren't secretly hiding, in the white box, and we're the ones who did it. It wasn't like that. But they probably, like this with the arms dealer, would be talking about other things and other aspects of CIA operations, relationships with foreign intelligence agencies and whatever else that now is going to come to light in an official way. So it'll be interesting. That said, my, again, gut feeling, I don't think we're getting anything resembling a smoking gun as to what happened in the assassination. But unlike the Epstein file release with the binders, there's at least something there potentially.
So something to learn, like
Yeah,
you said, probably not related to what happened to
yeah,
JFK, but yeah, it's interesting stuff for sure. I don't think there were many people who were upset that I saw, in government, who thought secrets were going to get out that we couldn't share with the public. So it is sort of interesting. I guess we'll learn some stuff, maybe
yeah.
some changes to what's written in the history books. Um, so I mentioned a little earlier, I'm still kind of a newcomer to you on Twitter, so I see a bunch of inside jokes between you and your many followers that I don't entirely get. So I was going to ask you.
I don't necessarily get them either, depending on which ones, but yeah,
Well, that's good. That's good to know. So I was going to ask you about a couple, if that's all right. I
please.
know I'm going to sound a little square here. I
That's
ask
all right.
these
Go for it.
people watching this will be like, okay, that's good. But as people can see, you have jars of mayonnaise. You're surrounded in this bookcase, this very real bookcase
Totally
by
real
you.
and not created by Grok by me this morning in preparation for this.
I appreciate you putting thought into this, though.
Thank you.
But yeah, so mayonnaise. I
Yeah,
take it that you're, from what I've gathered, again, I feel like an idiot because I don't know this,
it's
but
fine.
I take it that you're a big Mayo connoisseur because every time a story on Mayo enters the news cycle, people are tagging you into it left and right, and
Yeah.
I went back and I actually I did some research,
Oh boy.
David. You have a number of YouTube videos from a
Yeah.
while back
Oh
where
boy.
you're taste testing
Yeah.
different types of mayo. What are your overall thoughts on mayonnaise? Is it the superior condiment, or would you say you're a leading authority on this topic?
I'm definitely the leading authority. The Mayo thing is just fun, and it's kind of one of those things that took on a life of its own. And I think it kind of ramped up for me in the pandemic too. Again, time being home. I think I had done prior to that, pre-COVID. I don't even remember why, but one day I squeezed a bottle of something in my mouth and posted a video on Facebook for my friends, uh, and people were just horrified. People have a real visceral reaction to it, and at the same time, it's great, right? Because even if people have strong reactions, there are no stakes involved, right? It's not actually controversial. No one's actually going to be angry with you if you put mayonnaise or mustard or ketchup on something, right? It's like we argue, we're grossed out, whatever, but it doesn't mean anything. So it's fun in that way. I like that because it's frivolous. And so I'm like, wow, people are grossed out. I got to do more. And so I did that for a little while on Facebook. I posted a couple YouTube, but my YouTube videos. I mean, God bless you for watching them. I did. There would be one take, no editing. I made no attempt at being professional. I can't even. It's difficult for me to watch and listen to myself. Probably the same is true for others, but it's also true for me too. Where I can't. No one wants to watch me, including me. So I wouldn't even go back in the videos and watch myself to see how they were really. Um, and it didn't. I just did it for fun. And then I got active on Twitter around that same time, and I'm like, well, I wonder if people, maybe people on Twitter would like it. And so I posted a couple things. I think one, I don't remember the context anymore, but I posted myself doing a shot glass of ranch dressing. I don't remember. I can't even remember the why, but I posted a shot me downing a shot glass of ranch. Everybody was horrified, uh, and so it just kind of I did a few videos here and there. I haven't done a video in a really long. I think it's been over a year since I've done one, and that's kind of one of the great things about it is that it snowballs. I don't even have to do anything, right? And so it's just one of those things. It's something I did for fun. I'm extremely happy, humbled. Every once in a while I'll get a DM from somebody, be like, I was in the supermarket and I started cracking up in the mayonnaise aisle, and I had to explain to my wife why I was laughing or something. And that's even if it's frivolous, it's also very humbling that anyone would ever think of me for even a second when they're not, you know, on their phone or on the computer, and like when they walk out into the real world, somehow I pop in their heads. It's a very humbling experience for me. So I like it. Um, I like it because it's fun, but it doesn't, the secret exclusive that John A. Daly is going to get today is that I probably don't use more mayonnaise than the average American citizen. I like it. Yeah, I certainly don't dislike it. I like it. It's always in my fridge, but in real life, I'm not actually eating spoonfuls of mayonnaise on a regular basis. I use it as needed.
So we're kind of breaking news here today.
I've said it before online, but but this way you can tweet it out with fire and siren emojis and say you've got breaking news.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah,
Has anybody ever approached you about maybe doing some kind of collaboration with Heath Mayo from Principles First fame?
that's funny about Heath because every once in a while, um, so I people will I've seen people that there are people on the right who dislike Heath, right? And so every once in a while, I'll see a tweet on my feed. It'll be like, "Shut up, Mayo boy," and I just assume they're talking about me. And then I look like, "Oh no, they mean Heath." Uh, yeah, but no, I certainly have not discussed anything with Heath. I have kind of have fun on Twitter with Hellman's because that's my brand that I use anyway. Uh, I messaged with them once. I just wanted to get like a hat or something, a shirt, and I could just,
Sure.
just to have it. It's like, well, for content creators, we have contracts, and I'm like, you don't want a contract with me, and I don't want a contract that says I'm gonna abide by your standards for, my social media content is gonna. I mean, the discussion didn't get that far, but I'm not gonna somehow become a sponsor that can't, curse online or something. I don't want to be worried.
Yeah, you don't want to be the next Jared for Subway for sure.
Nothing even close to that. So like, it's certainly not Jared.
Yes.
Definitely not him. But yeah, I didn't want it in a serious way. And they're like, well, there's got to be a content uh, partnership contract. I'm like, I just want a hat. Like, well, we don't give hats. I'm like, all right, thank you. So, but I mean, they're very nice to me. They'll reply to my tweets and other people, and they're in on the joke. But other, so I've joked before online that I'm waiting for someday there will be a brand that will bribe me and pay me, and whatever, either it's Hellman's or it'll be some other brand. And if it's some other brand, that'll be my new favorite brand forever. Like when, a celebrity starts drinking Coke instead of Pepsi, once the sponsorship comes through, I'll become the biggest shill for whatever mayonnaise company that wants to pay me, but no one wants to pay me, so no one, no one
Have
gets
you
the
tried like
shilling.
Kroger? It's like more of like a generic brand. Maybe they'd be on board with something like
Maybe,
that.
yeah. I don't think we have Kroger's here. I try.
No.
If you saw the videos, I tried because people are very protective of their regional. brands of mayo, right? And so Duke's down south and Blue Plate, and there's some other ones. And so I had to like order from years ago when I did some of those videos. I had to order from Amazon to get Duke's and Blue Plate because we don't have that stuff on the shelves here. But yeah, I went through a period where I was like, let me try different brands of mayonnaise, and after a while, I'm like, first of all, it's very wasteful, right? Because I'm buying a jar and I'm doing like 2 spoonfuls to test it, and then I'm gonna have a jar sitting in my fridge forever. If I'm buying multiple brands, and they end up going to waste, and I feel bad. Like, why am I, it's wasting my money, but also wasting food. Why am I wasting food? So I kind of I put a stop to that a few years ago when I realized I looked at my cabinet and it was like 5 jars of mayonnaise that I'm never gonna touch. I'm like, I gotta stop.
I hear you. So the other one I wanted to ask you about, again, just from me being fascinated, photoshopped pictures of you. Your followers make them, you repost them. They show you in different bodies and in different places. And
Yeah,
and what gets me is how good so many of them are.
yeah, really talented people out there.
Yeah, it's so every now and then I get some, I write about politics a lot, so I get these, internet trolls, usually MAGA people who they'll take my profile photo and do Photoshop some really weird sexual thing with it. It looks like
Uh,
they're using like Windows Paint app 3.1 or something
yeah,
like
you
that.
need
But
my guys. You got to get the talented ones to defame you with their photoshops.
they're amazing. It's not just the photos, but videos. I mean, I saw one the other day about you where you were like hugging another uh, Twitter account. I'm like, this is amazing. I mean, I know a little bit about this world. With I do some editing. I'm not, but I mean, this stuff is amazing. So I'm curious, David, what is it about your face that you think motivates your fans to spend a lot of time making quality art out of it?
So it's a good question. It's something and I'm not kidding. It's something I've spent a lot of time pondering. It's one of the probably one of the great mysteries of my life as to how that happened. I mean, it started in a small way. Just one or two people would just put my face in a meme, and just kind of snowballed, and it's out of control. Um, but I think part of it is that I'm kind of a goofball, and I probably look like a goofball, and I'm also,
You're a
I'll
very
retweet
handsome man.
you.
Very handsome man,
Thank
David.
you, thank you, thank you. So then, as long as you didn't Photoshop me into something really offensive, I'm probably going to retweet you, and so people like that, and I kind of have a friendly reaction to it. I think it kind of, I think it's a feedback loop, right, where people are making memes, I'm reposting them, people are laughing, I'm a good sport about it. So I think people get kind of positive vibes all around from it. So then I think, again, it's back to an earlier point about things being frivolous, where there are no stakes. It's just fun on its own, even if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense that my face would be put onto whatever the meme is, right? People do it for fun, and so we're all having fun, and so I like it. It's very strange. You know, I now I'm used to it, right? It's so like it's just normal to me that I open Twitter and my face is somewhere, but that's an odd kind of feeling to have. But I'm used to it. And I can't imagine what if 15 years ago you told me that this would be happening, I probably would have told you I love it. I would have like, yeah, that's going to be great. But I probably couldn't have imagined it would ever happen either. I'm talking like I won the lottery or something. It's just something fun and goofy, but I enjoy it.
Well, it's good positive energy, and there's not enough of that on social media. So I think you're actually doing good, and these people that are making these videos and photos are actually doing some good because
See?
it gives me a laugh. It's lighthearted. I very much dig it. So I mentioned at the top you are also a movie producer. So I was checking out your IMDb movie page, and you have some pretty impressive sounding films on your resume. There is Cannibal Cop, Hooker with the Chainsaw, Cannibal
Hooker,
Hookers, which is you
excuse me,
brought.
hooker with a
Yes,
hacksaw. Please don't.
I'm sorry, Hooker. I
I
apologize. Hooker with a hacksaw,
thank you.
Cannibal Hookers. So
Yes.
I like how you took the two and you
So,
brought the genres together.
so
Um,
let. Oh, go
Go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, I was just gonna
Oh,
say.
wait.
I, the deep dark secret of my filmography is that it's 1,000,000% a vanity thing that I do to get credits on IMDb. Just years ago, I thought it would be funny, and now it pays off because people know my name, and sometimes they'll Google me or whatever, and they'll come up with, I produce Cannibal Hookers or something. There are most of those movies are this one director who's been making. I've always been a big cult horror movie fan since I was a kid, going back to the 80s. Uh, the director of most of those films is a guy named Donald Farmer, who, starting back in the 80s, was making zero budget, shot on video, straight to video horror movies for no money at all. And he still does. Every once, every once in a while, one of them will kind of sneak out into the mainstream. He made a movie, I think it was about 10 years ago, called Shark Exorcist, which was about, as you can imagine, a priest trying to exorcise the demons from a shark with the world's worst CGI. And it was kind of at the time like Sharknado and stuff, and so it kind of took people's imaginations for a minute. But otherwise, God bless his soul, Donald is just still pumping out movies. He does fundraisers for the movies, like Indiegogo or Kickstarter or something. And for like $50, you can become an executive producer of a movie that probably has hooker or cannibal in the title. I'm like, that's a great deal. I'll do that. And so, like, probably once a year, I'll get a message from Donald going, "Hey, my new movie's coming up. It's hooker with or whatever." And I'm like, "Take my $50, please." And then the movie comes out a couple years later, goes straight to video, of course. No one sees him. Uh, and now I'm an executive producer on IMDb. It's a deal of a lifetime. I love
Well, so one of that's in production, it looks like Amityville Aliens.
it.
Is this your first venture into sci-fi? The first one you produced as a sci-fi film?
That's a good question. I think it might be. I think there was I think on my credits there's a thank you I got for a sci-fi movie, but I think this is my first. It's funny.
Well,
I grew up right next to Amityville out on Long Island when I was a kid, so it's it's a very personal project for me that aliens are invading Amityville now.
have you done any cameos in these films?
No, 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 no. I haven't. I don't even. I should do that someday. I should ask the director if I can come to a cameo in something, because that would be good. And like a
Yeah,
post clip.
mayonnaise aisle at some grocery store or something goes
Yeah,
crazy.
be in the
I think that
background.
would be
I.
fantastic.
I mean, that's actually a really good idea. I should pitch it. I think he lives in like Kentucky or something. I'd have to drive down, but yeah, that's a legitimately good idea that I may pursue. Thank you, John.
Sure thing. So I write you might know, I don't know if you, I write a novel series called the Sean Coleman Thrillers, and believe it or not, there has been a little bit of Hollywood interest in the intellectual property, but
Awesome.
I honestly don't know if these avenues, I'm going down or got to lead anywhere. Do you have any connections you could perhaps throw my way?
Yeah. So my connections, unfortunately, are people that make movies for $0, would probably not be able to afford more than $100 for the rights to your books, and would, as a lawyer, I would likely suggest you not do that. But those are the extent of my connections with the entertainment industry.
Well, I did want to come back because you brought up you're a lawyer.
Yes.
In your bio, you list yourself as a strip mall attorney. I
Yeah.
assume that's probably accurate.
Well,
I'm, or is it? Maybe it's not.
no. So
But
the bio thing, it's fun. I've done this over time. Right now, it's just that one, but it used to be really large. Anytime people would insult me, not anytime, but if it was a good one, if people would have a good insult for me, I would add it to my bio.
oh, okay.
And so, the
You're
strip
not
mall
a strip
attorney.
mall.
Yeah, there's a guy who's an attorney, and insulted, and how dare he insult the prestige of my law practice by saying I'm a strip mall attorney. So I'm like, that's perfect. That goes right in the
Oh,
bio, strip mall attorney. Yeah, no, I actually have a. There's no strip mall, but I do have an office. But yeah,
oh, good, good.
yeah.
Yeah, I had sort of Better Call Saul in my head with the strip mall thing. So, but I'm curious. So, do many of your clients are they aware of your online celebrity persona, or do you get a number of clients through through your internet presence?
So my clients, I've never had a client mention anything like that to me. My clients are more so I deal in healthcare and
Oh,
insurance
okay. So
litigation. So my clients are like medical offices and stuff, and so haven't had a client say anything to me about it. I mean, I don't, I'm a goofball online, and maybe I'll be mean to someone sometimes, but I'm not like a particularly controversial guy, so I'm not really that worried that I'm, going to say something and, kill my career. And watch, with my luck now that I said that, I'm going to tweet the world's worst possible thing tomorrow and end it all. But realistically, probably, I'll be okay. But no, my clients, they get money, they say thank you, and that's
Well, good, good.
it.
Well, you have a very well-rounded life. I mean, you do all these different things. You're like a real Renaissance man. So yeah, it's
It's true.
very just interesting to learn about this stuff.
Thank you.
So were you gonna say something?
No, I said thank you.
Oh, sure thing,
You're
sure thing.
right. I'm a Renaissance man. It's true.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm glad we agree on that. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. You've been very give me your time, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you fielding my silly questions. Um, I definitely am going to include your X account link to it in the show notes so people can enjoy what I do. Is there anything you'd like to plug before you go? Is there maybe a new brand of mayonnaise you're jacked about, or anything else?
No, I just want to say, I appreciate you having me on. This is a paid appearance, right? I mean, Bernie Goldberg's got to
Oh,
have money. I assume he's going to
Bernie's a
be.
little tight. He's a little.
Oh, is he?
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
come
We
on.
can get you some maybe a signed copy of Bias, perhaps, or a slobbery love affair.
Did
One
he?
of those
Where was
books.
he at? CBS? Did he steal anything from CBS that could he
Oh,
sign me a napkin or something?
that's so
A
he's worked at a
CBS
lot of
memo pad?
places. Yeah, that's not. I'll ask him about that. CBS News, almost 30 years. You knew he was bringing home stuff, and HBO, I think almost 20 years for Real Sports.
That's right.
Was
He did
on
the Brian
Fox.
Gumbel thing, right? Yeah.
Well, he has, yeah, exactly, exactly. So 10 years as a Fox News analyst. I don't think they let him in the building that often. I think he was off in some other state usually. Maybe some recycled factor gear from his old, no spin zone days with Bill O'Reilly. So yeah, I'll ask him about that. We got to get you something because I mean,
That's as a top tier influencer who produces quote unquote brilliant content. A recent review I got from a podcast host was that my posts are brilliant.
yes.
I should be, this should be a paid appearance, so I'm offended. But no, John, I don't have anything to plug. I'd be happy if anyone takes a look at my account on Twitter, even though it's very embarrassing to me. I mean, it's kind of Twitter for me, social media in general. It's kind of a push pull, probably for a lot of people, but definitely for me included, where I'm kind of shy, but it's a way to uh, kind of be loud and obnoxious online for fun. And it's kind of a push pull where it's like, pay attention to me, don't pay attention to me, because you don't want negative attention. You don't want people. I only want people who agree with me. So if you see my posts and agree with me, I love you. Otherwise, don't look. But beyond that, no, I have nothing to plug. I appreciate your time. I hope I answered your very serious questions about mayonnaise and movies properly, and gave you. I hope we broke news and cracked mysteries. We solved JFK, and I appreciate so much that you had me on.
Well, sure. Yeah, you've done a very big service for us today. So we
I
definitely we appreciate the charity having you on, and just want to thank you again, Damon. Hope you have a great rest of your week. All right.
You too, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you.